Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the THW NHL News and Rumors Rundown. My name is Jim Parsons. I'm here with hockeyraters.com. It is Saturday, May 1st today. We're already in the month of May. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. The NHL's regular season is winding down, and we've got a ton of news and rumors to talk about here on this week's edition. But before we do that, just a quick reminder, if you want to follow us, you can do so on Twitter at the Hockey Rater, right down there. You can go over just a little bit to thehockeyraters.com, check out the latest news and rumors. Every day there's a piece there that you can follow. And then, of course, way over in the corner is the Facebook page, facebook.com/thehockeyrater. So, we got lots to get to. We're going to start with some basic news. The first big one is that the Seattle Kraken are officially now the 32nd team of the NHL. They paid their final installment payment, franchise fee, to get involved. They can now start making trades. They can talk to other teams. They can be part of meetings and governor votes and all sorts of fun things like that. So the Kraken are officially in, which should be interesting now to see what they do. What will be their main target? Will they start working side deals with other teams? Will they go after college free agents? Things like that. So we'll have to keep our eyes on Seattle, and we know there's been some talk about what Ron Francis might want to do, and the asking price for moving things around a little bit is going to be pretty high. There's some injury news. Detroit's been hit with a lot of people. Carter Hart is done for the season with Philadelphia. Lots going on here. It just makes sense that most of these teams are shutting these guys down, especially if they're not going to be in the playoff picture. Why risk it? Give them some time off, let them recuperate, do what they're going to do. Carter Hart specifically didn't have a great season. Philadelphia Flyers have been leaking goals like crazy. He's just going to be better off coming back next season, kind of getting back into form again. This was kind of the first season that he really had where he wasn't his normal self, but he should be fine and expected back for next year. Lots of coaching talk in the NHL right now. Travis Green out of Vancouver, John Tortorella out of Columbus, Jeff Blashill out of Detroit, Rick Tocchet out of Arizona. What these guys are going to do, they're all up for their contract renewals. They may or may not stay. John Tortorella probably is going to be leaving Columbus. At least that seems to be the consensus. That it's not just about whether or not Columbus wants to keep him, but whether or not he wants to stay. It might be time for a new challenge, do something else. Vancouver really wants to keep Travis Green. They're catching a little flack for the fact that it's taken so long to get to this point, but Green may or may not want to move on, but the Canucks are interested in keeping him, so we'll see what happens there. Ilya Kovalchuk is rumored to want to come back to the NHL. He just finished his season in the KHL winning, and he wants to come back now to the NHL. He's terminated his contract over there, so we'll see if any team is interested in picking him up or not. Not really sure if there's going to be a team out there that wants to. He was rumored to want to come back to the NHL this season, but only wanted to play with a contender. Nobody really signed him. The money was an issue. Flat cap, all that other stuff, so he took off, and he might be coming back, so we'll see what happens there. Lots to talk about Zach Hyman's upcoming contract in Toronto, whether or not they sign him before the expansion draft or after the expansion draft, try to get that done, how that's going to affect other things like their expansion draft plans, the format for protecting players, whether that leaves them room to sign other free agents, because there are a bunch of them in Toronto. Frederick Anderson, Jason Spezza, Joe Thornton, Wayne Simmons. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. If Hyman is clearly the front runner and priority, we did a survey amongst a bunch of Maple Leafs fans, and Hyman won with over 75% of the votes in terms of the biggest priority for the Maple Leafs. It's just a matter of when they get him signed, right? Lots of news for the Oilers. Ryan McLeod was called up from Bakersfield. He's played a couple games for the Oilers. He'll play his third tonight. He's getting a bump already. He's going to be in the top six, centering the second line. He's played pretty well. He hasn't gotten any points yet, but he's speedy, skilled. Looks like Tippett wants to get him in there and see what he can do. And the rest of the top six has been kind of shuffled around here. Connor McDavid is on his quest for 100 points. He hit a little bit of a setback against Calgary the other night, but he's pretty close to being on pace. We'll see if he can do it. And Oscar Klefbom spoke to the media this past week and talked about his injury, his surgery, recovery time, whether or not he thinks he'd come back, whether or not he would be bothered if Edmonton didn't protect him in the expansion draft. He knows it's questionable. He knows he'd like to come back, but he's not really sure. It's too soon to tell where he's going to be. So we'll see what that means for the Oilers, especially when it comes to guys like Taysom Barrie, Adam Larson, other free agents, money going who knows where. They'd like to have a healthy Klefbom back, just not sure if it's going to happen. And then Boston, Taylor Hall's played great since coming over there. Now, he's not been perfect, but he's got 5 goals, much better than his output in Buffalo. But the key here is that he's really, really upped David Krejci's game, who's been a point-a-game player since Hall arrived. They've been forming a great second line. Sounds like the Boston Bruins might want to keep these two guys as a kind of package deal for next year. Both of them are pending unrestricted free agents at the end of the year. So we'll see where that goes. But we'll keep our eyes on Hall. The playoffs are going to speak majorly, really loudly for the Bruins and what they do moving forward, because there's some questions about the age of that team, how big their window is to win, stuff like that. So Hall and Krejci playing really, really well together, building early chemistry. We'll see where it goes. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this weekend. We'll talk to you next week on Saturday. Don't forget, check out thehockeyraiders.com. Go to the YouTube page, the Facebook page, all the video content there for the Hockey Raiders. Lots of cool stuff happening all the time. So we'll talk to you guys soon, and until then, enjoy the hockey till next week.